I'm Ashton from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media, and today on the Crypto Coin Show we have Santiago Portela, CEO of FITCHIN. Santiago, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking the time.
Hi, Ashton. Thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you coming on in the middle of the NFT NYC conference. I know it's crazy times in the market, and surprisingly, that doesn't stop anybody from continuing building all of these amazing companies with blockchain technology that are just innovating the world, and it looks like the conference is doing amazing. And so how is it there, and how is everything going?
If you're here, you wouldn't know how the market is. It's packed, it's full of people, and full of people building new stuff and fantastic things. And so it's you see the energy, and that's something that has changed in the market. It's not so much of how prices are right now, but all the people building and the things that are coming through, right?
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And a big part of NFTs is not just with digital art, it's moving into all industries, but one of them is obviously gaming. And gaming is just, since the last couple of years and people being in their houses more, gaming has just exploded to all ages and casual and intense gaming and esports. And the best part is that NFTs are coming into gaming and blockchain, allowing people to get more value from the games that they actually play and take something away, and not just play games and not really get anything out of it. And I know your team is working hard in the gaming space, trying to bring more community in there. I'd love to just kick off our conversation about FITCHIN with an overview from you on what are the solutions that your team is driving into the industry, and then we'll dive into all things gaming.
Sure. Let's start by giving an idea of what esports is, or the size of it, right? We are talking about a big part of the gaming community. It's the amount of people watching games play online. It's almost 1 billion people. People following esports is roughly 500 million people, and hardcore fans or enthusiasts of esports are 250 million people. So we are talking about a pretty big community. And one of the problems it has is the teams are quite weak. Not weak on they're doing amazing, but they are weak in the sense that all their revenues depends on advertising. And there's, because of being digital teams and digital communities, they're having problems on onboarding that community or getting closer to that community. And blockchain and Web3 is just perfect for that. And that's our goal, is how we can bring together these teams and change the way how they address their communities or work with their communities and profit from their communities, how they generate revenue, by also bringing together the user base or the fans that they want to get closer to them. They want to have different experiences, more experiences. They want to play, they want to interact, and well, how you do that. And that's where we're playing around with in our platform, in our playground. It's bringing those together and playing around and getting them more experiences.
Mm-hmm. Great to hear. And those numbers you mentioned at the beginning are pretty incredible, to see how quickly esports is growing, and to think, half a dozen years ago that you'd mention these numbers and people are just, they can't even believe it, that many people would be interested in gaming. And one thing about gaming is it can be very social, but can also be very antisocial. And I feel like having community platforms like this is a great way for those antisocial groups to find their communities and connect with other people through gaming as well. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about how exactly you're able to help those groups of people get into their communities.
No, and you're right. It's being together in community is a big part of this, and you see it on the last 2 years because of COVID and everything in the pandemic. There were a lot of events that were canceled and were not IRL events, and now you see them coming back, and the stadiums are packed. And so we're talking about a digital community, but whenever they have the chance to get together and being social, they crave for that and they look for that, because we think of gaming as an independent game or independent thing you do, but it became very social. It became playing with friends, and they might be in different places, but we're all together. We chat, we have discussions there. We even go into games not to play the game, just to meet our friends. And so it's gaming is now, it's all about community. The question is how you bring these communities together, or around what these communities build. And we think that esports teams are a big driver of this. They are the ones that can encompass a big amount of people around them and can drive that communities one way or the other. So they are the perfect vehicle to onboard those communities and give them a place to be.
That's great to hear. And I know exactly what you mean about getting together in person and having those online communities. Being a gamer growing up, most of my friends were actually built out of the gaming communities, and those kind of kids that grow up playing games, they almost like their online friends and then connect with them more than the people in real life, because they have that common interest.
Yeah, but then they want at some point in time to know them, to meet them. So, and that's why what we are doing, how to onboard these communities is, and what we are providing teams is a platform where you can become a member of the team. So it's an NFT as a membership, or a membership in the form of an NFT, plus a tournament platform, so you can play around with that community, and maybe you're not a pro, but you want to play with them. But what does the membership encompass? And that's the discussion with the teams, and definitely needs to be in real life events and that kind of experiences. But also we are exploring and working on digital experiences, such as a Metaverse, the team's house in the Metaverse, and how you give them a digital experience where it doesn't matter where you are, or maybe you don't like the in real life experience, and you want something that is more digital because of who you are, how you are, and that needs to be addressed for this whole community.
Definitely. And when I first started hearing about esports, when it was getting popular into like mainstream culture, I would hear of Fortnite and League of Legends, and they're starting to televise it. But from what I understand, any kind of community games that have a competitive nature and community nature can become a part of the esports, wing. How far does FITCHIN's communities encompass in terms of different kinds of games and genres of games?
Right now, we are targeting more the League of Legends, Valorant, and those type of sports or games, because those are the communities that the teams, the esports teams, right now have. Now, that's only the beginning. We are seeing communities go around P2E games, and those will be definitely something that will continue on growing, and you will see communities around that, and we want them as well. It's very much related to what people are playing, and not so much what we want to push, because we don't push what people want to do. We just give them a place to be and an experience, and that it's all about, right? It's a playground for the gamer to come in and have fun. And we have to understand their needs and not what we want to build. It's what we can build for them. Obviously, there are things that they haven't experienced yet, Metaverse, for instance, and there's a lot of that can be prepared for them and handled to them. But it will be in conjunction with the teams who are at the end of the day who have their communities and who will bring those communities here, and who will be the ones really pushing the adoption and pushing this new market or this new experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said, Santiago, and good approach. There's already such large communities in those games that I feel like that's a great place to start. And you talked a few times
and we're being aggressive. I'm talking about millions of people onboarding.
For sure. And a metaverse approach is it's not a small feat. Metaverses can be small, but they can also be infinitely large as well. How much of the focus is going to be on that, and how big is that as a part of FITCHIN? We are not going to build our own metaverse. We are metaverse agnostic. We believe that each metaverse will have or has its own personality or different things that you look in one another. And we want to give the users the experience they are looking for. So, I don't know, we think of going to a place like the Sandbox and having our neighborhood there, which with each team having their own house and exploring games there, or having that as a place where then you go to the next layer to a game or that kind of experience. If you go to the Centraland, it will be more of hanging out and getting together through community. Then you have places like Somnium, where it's more a VR experience. We don't want to give the experience of or put a box into what the user can experience, but make it more of a broader open experience where, depending what you're looking for, you can go one way or the other, and you have the whole Web3 experience, taking your persona to the different places, and at the end of the day, having fun. And that's what a gamer is looking for, having fun, spending a good time. That's when we think of gamers and crypto, they're not coming to invest, they're not coming to make money, they're coming to have a good time, a nice experience, and we have to be very certain that we provide that experience. Mm-hmm. Definitely, I like that approach as well, because I feel like anything that boxes in, a metaverse is probably not the way to approach it, because a metaverse should be, endless possibilities. There can be metaverses that are underwater, or anti-gravity, or just social and build your own. So I like
no, and exactly, and it's what is the criticism that we always do to the old Web 2 world is that your things are stuck there. So if I build all the experience in one place, you're stuck in that place. I don't want you to get stuck. I want you to be able to move around, to have fun, to own your stuff, and look for the best experiences. And my job as a company is to help teams get their following base the experiences that they need and the experiences they are looking for.
Mm-hmm. Great. And Santiago, where exactly are you at in growing the platform, and with these games that you mentioned already? Are there already people joining in, or people able to join into the membership right now?
Not right now. We should have the tournament platform ready mid next month, in mid-July, and the memberships should be around a month or month and a half later. So we are building that. As you know, time it's hard to predict sometimes with technology, but we are working hard to get that. At the same time, having said that, we have already organized a tournament with a LATAM team, the biggest LATAM Spanish-speaking team. In Valorant, we are organizing end of the month another tournament with another team in Latin America. So we are already building these experiences for their users, and then it's accompanying them building the tools to keep on growing that community and keep on onboarding that community.
Okay, that's great to know about the timing. And speaking of Spanish, I did see on your team's Twitter, a lot of the posts are in English and in Spanish. And I'm curious on your insights into esports communities and blockchain gaming growing in both the Spanish language and where you're targeting it in English as well.
Well, it's hard to know right now. It's they're growing a lot, or they have been growing a lot. Axie Infinity has a big push, mostly targeted to play to earn or the concept of earning. There's a lot of new games coming in the scene, and we are gonna see a development of this in the next couple of years. We'll see where that takes, where all this market goes. So I'm really optimistic of the possibilities there. I don't think we have already seen the full capacity of these games. So it's more in a way wait and see, but with optimism and possibilities. I think it's great what's being done there. Then the question is how you build communities on top of that, and how you make these games last longer. And probably competition will be a big driver of this. And we've seen with other games, traditional games such as League of Legends or Counter-Strike, and you name it. There's a couple of games that have been there for several years, and competitive gaming has been a big driver of those titles still being there. So we'll see how the publishers of these new games or the developers of these new games use the power of esports to grow their franchise and be there for the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see if some of these big, AAA games start integrating NFTs and blockchain as well. And just a comment on the language barrier, it's beautiful to see games like Counter-Strike and League of Legends just, totally break down language barriers, and you could be facing somebody that doesn't even speak the same language as you, and you're facing head to head on your skills in gaming, and you could become friends after, even if you don't know the language. So I think that's a great thing about esports communities.
It's communities. It's how people get around games. It's how people get around playing together and having a good time. And it can be in a very different ways, but that sense of belonging and that sense of, and also competitions make a lot of that, right? Competing helps you go into something, getting better, but also getting to these communities and then showing off, but at the same time being respectful of who you beat and continue on playing, and next time we'll do better, and both come together into what's next.
Mm-hmm. And with the lead up to the launch for the platform and the NFT membership, is your team also considering creating a cryptocurrency as a part of the blockchain interaction in the platform? And if so, what would that look like, and how does it create a sustainable ecosystem?
Well, yeah, we are planning on launching a token. We are building, we like to say, a playground for gamers, and that's an ecosystem, a full ecosystem where you can mint your membership pass, and then you can play a tournament and then get the prizes in our token. So it's a kind of a closed ecosystem where there's a ton of things you can do there. Digital assets, ticketing for in real life events. So there's a lot of things being done there, and content being generated all using our own token, and we see a lot of value in having our own token for that. As always is okay. So how you do what you do so that the token doesn't lose value or increase in value, and well, the important thing here for us is generating content and bringing this user base, growing that user base and generating more content and generating more experiences. And that's how, in a way, you generate the deflation of your token. And then, yes, you have prices and you increase the supply, but it has to be also very much targeted into growing the assets that you generate, the content, and providing more to your users.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more on that with the release of the platform as well. And for the viewers to follow along with the release of the platform and the token and to learn more about FITCHIN beforehand, what is the best way for them to follow along with all of these updates?
Yeah, we have our Twitter account, and it's in Spanish and English, so you will be able. You might find it weird sometimes that we write in Spanish, but don't worry. There's a lot of English content, and we try to be mindful of both markets because we are focusing both. And you can do that through FITCHIN GG, and then we have our site is FITCHIN.gg, so you can also find us there. Plus, Discord is for gamers a big place, and well, also NFT holders, about that platform. So we are also there in our FITCHIN channel.
Sounds great, Santiago. Thank you for taking the time. All the best with these updates and the upcoming launch of FITCHIN. I will leave those links in the description box below as well for the viewers. And let's follow up in the near future.
I would love to. Thank you, Ashton, for having me here. It was a pleasure, and thanks again. Whenever you want, I'm here.